thank you all so much for being here and witnessing these films. It's a total privilege to share in this moment. I wanted to pass this along to you two and see, is there anything else you'd like to do to introduce yourselves? Is there any way you would like to introduce yourself? You know, a long bio can actually leave out a lot. So is there anything to share?
Niswa aposwo, niswa aposwo, niswa aposwo, 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 aposwo. I am here as a survivor. I am here as a healer who is healing, who is yet to be healed, who is healing embodied. I am here because of Daniel's call, and I believe that that call came from beyond him and beyond me. And I am here with my sister Auntie for us to be intentional about the divine download of tonight, which is to turn. And so we did not only come to witness the turn, but to be the turn. And so I am here to invite you to consider on tonight, before you leave this sacred place, what do you need to release so you can receive?
Ashe.
To be continued.
E hu ano luna e pi ano lalo e hu yana namoku e ku na kapaia. E hu ano luna e pi ano lalo e hu yana namoku e ku na kapaia. E hu ano luna e pi ano lalo e hu yana namoku e ku na kapaia. That's what happened tonight. That's what those stories taught me tonight. That what is above will come down, and what is below will rise. We're going to meet at the heart chakra, and we're going to feel something, and we're going to huli. Because aloha is our way. It really is. I felt it tonight. And we have that to offer the world. We do. Because, you know, in Hawaiian epistemology, geography shapes your knowing. And everyone's like, oh, thank you for sharing. What does that mean? It means what you saw tonight. It means ku'uaina aloha. That is what we know. That the land has always loved us. Yeah.
Mahalo for this sharing and for this moment. I'm wondering if you can expound upon what you received through the experience of these films together.
Okay. Wow.
I received the medicine. The medicine for our healing. I received the medicine of movement.
Yeah. Totally.
And the call for us to reclaim our bodies.
Nice.
Colonization, stress, trauma, oppression teach us to disconnect and to be floating heads, denying and apologizing for these bodies. And so in the movement was the healing. And so you have to ask yourself, what and who does not want me to move? Oh, what and who? Because whoever loves you wants you to be free. And if they want you to be free, they want you to be in your body. And so anything that doesn't want you to be in your body does not want you to live. And so I saw medicine in movement, and then I saw medicine in resistance. I'm a psychologist, but I'm not the kind of psychologist that just wants you to cope and adjust to what is. We acknowledge what is so we can dismantle, so that we can disrupt, so that we can build what needs to be. And so it is a dangerous but necessary sacred word to resist. To resist every lie you have been told about yourself. To resist everything that makes you think that you are not beautiful, that you are not brilliant, that you are not gifted, that you are not powerful. Those are all lies. And so what I saw, even as we heard the spoken word going forward, and even in the boxing, was the resistance. And so there was a film several years ago, and the refrain was, "Warriors, come out to play." And so there is a warrior in you that has been dormant. Sometimes we have been talked out of our own strength. And so what I got from the film was, warriors, come out to play.
Warriors, you came out to play. Wow, and I had dinner with this woman, and she brought her 2 children, and her friend came. So that is community. That's who we are too. In the midst of our difference, we found so much beauty. And that is this is the point of difference. It's really not about form. It has always been about essence. And that's why we could have died 90%, but never our spirit. Our spirit is still alive in Hawaii. And the spirit is so alive in you. And we meet there. We meet there in a ho'opono exchange so that we can experience the strength of what is different. Because uniformity in us deadens the sense of the infinite. I did not say that. Rabindranath Tagore did. Now, he's the guy. But the point is, what we have in common is our difference. And when you really get that energetic field, then connection becomes easy, constant, always there. Because this form of difference is to be honored. Because you see us in your work. I need to tell you, to be president of the American Psychological Association. That is crazy. That is crazy. But I want to ask you, how is your choice in that matter synergistic and resonating with what you learned tonight?
Thank you for that. It was about being bodacious enough to show up in the fullness of who I am and to not be intimidated by people whose discomfort with their own authenticity caused them to shift. And because I was raised by folks who were not intimidated, it taught me not to look at their faces, but to look at their hearts. And the truth is, the greatest resistance came from people who were the hungriest for change. And so this love work, and I think that is what was key for my approach to leadership, is that it is one based deeply rooted in love. And love is irresistible. It is, and I will just tell you this, I'm a spoken word artist as well as, and my dear sister friend, Ioka is as well. And we used to perform in Boston together. And there was a brother, African-American poet, who came to me one day after that night of poetry, and he said, "Thema, I don't get it. You and I are saying the same thing, and people love you, but they hate me." You can guess who it was. And what he was getting at really was that when people encountered him, they first encounter his rage. And a lot of people can't sit with rage, even though as a psychologist, I say it's healthy to be outraged about outrageous things. It's a healthy response to outrageous things. And at the same time, rage alone will not sustain you. And so deeper than the rage, the reason I am outraged is because I have such love for those who are being mistreated. Yeah. So when the love shows up first, then people have to, a part of them has to hear it. And that is what has been transformative. And I will say another key was being ego-less. If you don't need the credit, you can get a lot more done. If you're not hungry for pats on the back, you can get a lot more done. And so someone said to me in the midst of the presidency, "I know you're trying to do this collaborative thing, but, what do you want?" The collaborative thing. The collaborative thing. Yeah. So I want to ask you, one of the themes that came up in the films, and it connects with me as an African American, is what do you say to those who are physically disconnected from their land? Yeah.
Yeah. I felt that tonight. Yeah. And I felt that sense of kaumaha for all of our peoples wanting to come home. I have felt that myself. And almost went crazy until I was helped. Because I knew I would come home, and that's what helped me the most. So for those of us who are away from this aina, pula, this aina momona, this aina nahi, this place where you see blue on blue. You know what I mean? Blue is the ancient color of love. But when you speak it, it's the chakra of your knowing. But for us, blue and blue, love. So for those of you who are born and raised or living on the continental of the United States, just gotta practice loving. You're in Hawaii. That's what I love, that line. Where a Hawaiian goes, Hawaii is. And that's who we are. And when people go, nah, no more aloha. Oh, what are you kidding? Aloha termites, drink aloha, aloha this, aloha that. And everyone makes fun of that. No, you know what? That's the longing of the world, is aloha. And so when you're separated from the land of aloha, the spirit of aloha, you are that where you are. or not. You decide. You know what I mean? And there's the discipline. This woman has discipline. You know what I mean? I know. Because I used to be an athlete. And you know, we just do things over and over and over again. It drives my wife crazy. But that's ho'oma'a. We have to, like Halimakua said, you gotta write. You gotta write, and then you gotta read your writing. 2 hours later, 2 weeks later, 2 years later. Because are you that energetic field that you are writing about or with or on? You've got to ho'oma'a. You've got to make familiar the higher frequency of existence. It does not come because, you know, you graduated. It does not come from any external means. Because when you speak, you have that cadence to you. I now get that, the slam poetry. So those of you who are in the continent or look like me, you know what I mean? I feel hapa looking. I had to heal with that because that was my journey. And so your journey of being in the continent, but from Hawaii, that's your journey. Congratulations. Yeah. And do the work well, because aloha and the spirit of Hawaii, the spirit of aloha, it's real. It really is. And that energetic field has changed my life. So when I can experience it at dinner, the minute we met, I know that it's in your children. I know that. And I know that it's bounced in a dual way with her friend. So that's the quality of when you recognize aloha. Because it's so in you. It's so in these films. And when it's not there, we know it. And in that knowing is our disease and our cure. And so, yeah, it's a discipline, you know. Let's go, team.
I would like to ask what you feel the role is of film, mo'olelo and story, and what the particular significance of us coming from different backgrounds, cultures, what do you think the value is of accepting stories who are different from where you come from? And there's a delicate line between the importance of cultural preservation by connecting to your own culture and being more open. You know, how do you feel and find that line of when to do stuff with your own folks versus when to do stuff in community like this?
So connecting with another one of our dinner mates, I will say that the role of the artist is to prophesy. We see what is. We are looking for what could be. And we are looking for what shall be. And so to paint a picture, even if it is of the right now, but it's the now that we do not see, that is the role of the artist. The role of the artist is to be courageous. And this piece about other stories. So the Swahili word kaumba means creativity, kaumba. And so to create requires a sense of security within yourself. When you are insecure, you can only lip sync.
Wow. Wow.
Yes? So we want to hear your voice. We want to hear your song. We want you to be brave enough to be different. We want you to make a film that not everybody understands and not everybody gets, because those who were meant to get it will get it. Other people will chew on it and will wake up tonight at midnight like, I think that's what they were saying. And so Kuumba create, and when I'm grounded in the truth of who I am, I'm not upset by people having a different song. I can celebrate it, right? I don't have to be the only voice. I am inspired by the other voices. And so there is, as you're saying, the need for both the duet and the dialogue. And also there are times where we need to be amongst our community where no translation is required.
Totally. So, I love learning and digesting so that the embodiedness of my knowing is expressed real time. And Hawaiians, we really understood the deeper aspect of reciprocity, and I call it simultaneity. Yeah, because, as you sow, so shall you reap. Aloha aku, aloha mai. It's not about love, it's about loving. It's the verb. Kokua aku, kokua mai. That the gift is in the giving, the help is when you help. You know what I mean? So energetically, when I see movies like this, films like this, mo'olelo, stories like this, it brings me to my own knowing. And that's why Aya I Loko Nei is our kupuna is saying this everywhere now. The answers are within. They always have been, but we've been so externalized in this youthful society that it's important now to develop more compassion so that we can transform our systems to be more in line with an authentic knowing that gets the line when you said, yeah, but why were you talking to your manager, the manager? You know what I mean? Wasn't that a great line? Because when you get it, you get it. You know what I mean? So Harley Davidson, I used to ride motorcycles. And my favorite quotation was, if we have to explain it, you won't understand. So you gotta hang out with people who vibrate as a resonance, and if they don't, you just go, you send them love, but you leave the room and get yourself into an energetic field that is about love, that is about truth-telling, that is about the practice of that with beloveds. And tonight's films were that. I was blown away with the quality of the stories. Blown away. This is not me, this is the spirit of me. Because tonight's excellence, that's why I stopped grading students. You know what I mean? No, honestly, well, I only have doctoral students. So I say, they go, well, how is your grade? And I go, decide for yourself. You think I'm gonna grade you? What are you, nuts? Excellence is its own reward. Grade yourself. No, I take it back. Let your family grade you. Shit hit the fan. The family loved it. Because then we were talking to each other. Best work of my life was with my twin sister, Moana. Best work of my life is with my twin. Looks very papa, very Hawaiian. Hated her. And if you do not learn to love difference, you are going to want to fucking colonize it with your good intentions. Because as we all know, the road to HELL is paved with good intention. So the energy and the beauty of how we heal is with each other. And especially when it's hard. And that's what these mo'olelos were about. Every story was about their own freedom. And as we all know, courage begins consciousness. It begins consciousness. So the huli, the turning of consciousness, is the courage to tell the story. And then we evolve because everybody in these films work together. And there's the magic right there. Mutual causal reality. It's always been mutual. We've just thought it wasn't. You know what I mean? I forgive myself, but it's always been mutual. And so what's my role? My role is to awaken. Ta-da! And so this is why I can notice this wahine over here, because you are awake. It's such an honor to know that your work is now going to be global. What an honor to have you grace us in Hawaii. Thank you for seeing this. Yeah, thank you for seeing her. Because out of the depths of beauty, out of the depths of sorrow, broken hearts, out of the depths comes light. Yes.
Yes. So if you are in a dark place, you're in a good place for your birth. You're in a good place for your rebirth. And I want to connect with this piece about the storytelling. There is a form of therapy called narrative therapy. Narrative therapy. And it is about learning to tell your story and for you to be the main character in your story. Because too many times we have given over our position, and so in our own lives, we're living in the margins, right? So if your full-time conversation is about people who mistreated you, they are the main character in your story. So when I take over my story, when I reclaim my pen, then I get voice, and I get insight, and I get clarity, and I get to speak truth. In North Carolina, I went to do a poetry workshop. Well, at first they just wanted me to perform poetry. And when I said, well, I'll share some pieces and then I want to hear from the brothers their poems. And the person who invited me said, now this is a huge prison in North Carolina. The person who invited me said, I don't think we have any poets. I'm like, oh, you don't know what you have. That's all right. That's all right. So I shared some pieces and then I opened it up and they came and I was blown away. And they were blown away because their poems were about their experience, right? They were polite with me, but their poems were about their experience. And so for those who were not yet aware they were poets, I threw out some fill in the blanks and said, you know, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why? And so they were raising their hand, and I would be a tiger because this, I would be a bear because this. And so one brother raised his hand and said, I would be an ant because people are always walking on me. And I said, I appreciate your participation, and I'm going to ask you to answer again because you told me the animal that other people see you as. And the question is, if you could pick what you wanted to be, what would that be? And he said, I could pick anything? I said, yeah, you could pick anything. So he said, I would be a lion because, and he went into this whole piece about how he would roar. I said, now this is liberation. Who do you choose to be? And to know that even if you have never been treated well, it says nothing about your worthiness. It is only about your circumstance. So you name yourself, Kuti Chagalia, self-determination.
You know, the Buddha said, reality isn't the external world, it's how we view, it's our perception of it. Isn't that beautiful? So reality isn't our external world, it's our perception. And so change your perception, change the world. So this is what film does for me. This is what a good story does for me. And this is what happened tonight, everybody, is that we were exposed to voice. We were exposed to the beauty of difference. We were exposed to truth. And you know, truth is recognized. You don't like, okay, you guys raise your hand. Which thing was more truthful? You know what I mean? Truth is recognized. And tonight we recognize truth. And that is liberating. Yeah. And so we're kind of liberated tonight because every film ultimately is about our freedom. Every film was about the freedom. Because these are all friends, by the way. These filmmakers, you guys know each other. There's an energy of support. That kind of excellence, that's a vibration. That's an energy. That's an energy. So all of life is simply iini, it's energy. Hihiri, it's energy. And our ability to engage in it in a creative way amplifies that quality by itself. So love begets love, begets love, begets love, begets love. It really does. So the amplification of your liberation was on tonight. And it was so well done. Weren't we amazed? Yeah, yeah.
Are there any more words or ideas you'd like to exchange to each other? It's such a gift to have you here, and I can speak on behalf of us that we're so honored to be able to listen. Is there anything you have to share with each other in this time?
I want to tell you that Hawaii goes with you. You are the Malie ocean under an empty blue sky and a cool breeze of a day. You are that freedom of diving deep and knowing that you are safe because courage has brought you here. Loving is how we connect. And you, because of your ancestors, because of the mysteries of the world, because of divine energy, are going to be placed, have been placed in the energetic field of expansion by its own accord. So we recognize you, we honor you, and we go with you because we know that love is the center of all deep, ongoing change. And so thank you for your work.
Thank you for everything you survived. Thank you for persisting and for outlasting. Thank you for saying yes to the call on your life, even when it was hard. Thank you for modeling for us what freedom looks like and sounds like. Thank you for being willing to heal, because given your journey, you could be in a very different place right now. But you chose healing. And we're so grateful. And so I would just say to you, Spirit is calling you to a higher place of praise. Spirit is calling you to a higher place of praise. And your answer is yes.
Mahalo, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a total honor. And please keep supporting film. Thank you. Mahalo.